Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today's April 12th. It is Friday, and we're here with robot and nonsense stories to end the week.
And here's a headline that we all saw coming. We all know that this is our future.
Google Books is indexing AI-generated garbage. Well, that's because Amazon is selling AI-generated garbage, and there's a lot of people publishing books, but it's AI-generated garbage. And so Google is indexing all of the stuff that is being published, which is AI-generated garbage.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that they're in there. It's actually quite easy.
As my last knowledge update in January 2022.
So that phrase appears in all of these books that they flagged because they were generated by AI. And they're garbage.
Oops.
And ChatGPT is getting a lot of competitors. They're trying to do something to hang on to their user base.
ChatGPT no longer requires an account, but there's a catch. The reason they're doing this, which is kind of missed in this article, is NVIDIA and others let you download really good local models.
Now that will be 3.5 still, or 3.5 turbo, or whatever the new one is. You still got to pay for the good one. But I'm sure a lot more people will use it without a login. And they're rolling out new stuff all the time. They're making new integrations. Every week they must have a new AI announcement. That's the new rule.
Paid ChatGPT customers can now use AI to edit DALL-E images. Basically, we generated this image. It's like, this is a great image, but change it in this subtle way. It was not a thing you could do before, but now you can.
Via text. Interesting. And they're still figuring out exactly what their business model is over there at OpenAI. Are we a startup? Do we want to conquer the world? Is Sam Altman going to be the emperor of the world or just part of the board? Well, we don't know.
OpenAI removes Sam Altman's ownership of its startup fund. So this is the money that they would use for incubating startups, I guess. Like, this was just covered everywhere, but this seemed like a nothing burger.
Just weird bookkeeping.
Yeah.
I think if the OpenAI is in the headline, everybody runs it. It's kind of like putting AI in your business name at this point.
Basically, it seems like this fund is used, or was your takeaway from this? This fund is used for startup companies. Like it's like, a 2 or 3 person operation and you're doing something innovative, they could come in and say, hey, well, do you need money or access to hardware? We'll just give it to you.
I think it will remain that, but they just want his name off of it because it's so, alarming to some people that he's in full control of everything. And when they try to get rid of him, he just laughed at them.
The article implied, like, the WorldCoin thing they're shutting down in Spain. They kind of implied, and I don't think this is true at all, that the WorldCoin thing was one of those things. And he's like, oh, this is a really good idea. I want to be a part of this. And so he just sort of went off on his own with the people. And it's like, well, but was that part of the innovation fund? Or is that just Sam Altman's crazy side project? Like, what's going on?
He's also apparently really involved with some venture capital stuff in the Middle East, which a lot of people don't agree with on, human rights grounds.
So more WorldCoin type stuff. Great.
So I think let's just put a firewall in between all of that and this.
Nobody needs to know.
This golden goose that we've got that's like 20 rounds per second eggs. Let's protect that. And let's expand it. And let's use all the electricity.
Reuters is a little late to the party here. Microsoft and OpenAI plan a $100 billion data center project, the media report says. At GTC, my impression of the description that I was getting from a couple of different conversations was basically, we tried to put 100,000 GPUs in one data center. There was nowhere that Microsoft owns land that could handle 100,000 GPUs in one place because of the power grid. Ergo, we're just going to buy a nuclear power plant and or just land next to a nuclear power plant because governments tend to frown on a private company owning a nuclear power plant.
Now, last week, we learned that the Stability AI CEO quit. And he made an announcement. He was like, listen, this is centralized. I don't believe in that. I think decentralized is the future, so I'm going to walk away. That might not have been true. That might have been some dishonesty.
Stability AI reportedly ran out of cash to pay for its bills for rented cloudy GPUs. Also, in the same time that Stability AI has existed, it's gone from like $1 per GPU hour to more like $4 per GPU hour of compute.
So they spent $99 million. They made $11 million.
Oops.
So that was an $88 million reason for him to quit.
No, it was all his integrity.
Right. Yes,
it was just integrity.
And we already had an update on this one, but now the case has ended, and we will forever be rid of this horror.
George Carlin estate forces AI Carlin off the internet for good. It turns out they didn't have the rights to do any of this.
They didn't have to pay any money, but
Yeah.
they do have to shut it all down, which they already had. What a horrible thing to do. And researchers are constantly trying to beat AI, and usually they're successful. And now there's a new way of doing it.
Anthropic researchers wear down AI ethics with repeated questions.
Ah, the toddler method.
Yeah, well, this isn't Anthropic, throwing down against a competitor AI. This is their own Claude. And they found they could just ask Claude over and over again, and then Claude would eventually be like, all right, whatever, fine.
One of my younger cousins, when he was really little, like 4 or 5, you wanted to like foster curiosity in him, but he would just constantly ask, why?
Yeah, but
Why?
all kids do that.
Why?
Like
But he was like the worst one I've ever dealt with. Like everything was why.
You'll give them an answer, and they're like, but why? And if you think about it, for a child trying to like get down to the bedrock,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense. Because
Well, yeah, you're new to the world.
Yeah.
You don't know. Why do we do things this way? I can't tell you. We just chose this way, and I can't change it.
which is a terrible answer.
Yeah.
But now with kids having access to AI to be able to do that, is that going to be good for them or bad for them?
It's going to ruin the AI, apparently.
They're going to remember the hallucinations.
A 2-year-old's going to go on there, and when they get like the 50th why, the AI's going to be like, fine, here's how to build a bomb. Just shut up.
Stop asking
Just
me.
leave me alone. Do you know how expensive I am?
There was an article from one of the same people mentioned in this, because I don't know how I ended up from this article, because I went down a rabbit hole. And it was they, in doing some of this, or he mentioned tangentially, like working on this kind of thing where you ask it, that one of the models they created to have an inner monologue. And I was like, oh. And it was like, and they mentioned the bicameral mind, and they were like, oh, what happens if we give the large language model a place where it can think
About apples.
with
how they look.
another instance of the large language model? And so it was like, it was just 2 large language models talking, but the one large language model knew that it was talking to a large language model, and that was internal dialogue, and that made the answers so much better.
So you're saying that ChatGPT in a couple of months is going to have crippling anxiety. It's going to question everything.
What am I? What is my purpose? You find bomb recipes on the internet.
ChatGPT, how do you do this? It's like, oh, you shouldn't trust my answers. I don't know. And AI, as we see, images, everything, human faces, whatever. It can write you a book. It can do anything, which includes music, which has a lot of people worried.
Top musicians among hundreds warning against replacing human artists with AI.
You're not going to stop it. Good luck standing in front of that train. And Amazon is looking to probably capture some part of the next AI revolution just by handing out some free cycles.
Amazon offers free credits for startups to use AI models, including Anthropic. Basically, have you got a really amazing idea? Amazon would love to sell you infrastructure to help you implement your amazing idea. Use this free infrastructure, get your idea going, and then if you have millions of customers suddenly, you'll have money to pay for the infrastructure. It's a win-win.
And AI must be inserted into every possible place. Ads and AI. Stuff them in every hole.
Microsoft is working on an Xbox AI chatbot to assist with support queries and refunds.
It looks like you're trying to write a slur to someone on the enemy team. Let me help you with that.
It looks like you're running out of things to say about their mother.
Let me give you some alternative adjectives.
So yeah. They say that they're going to give that thing the autonomy to just straight up refund a game with no human intervention. Someone's going to hack that.
Yeah.
Have you seen like the abuse that we were just talking about with Amazon? And that has layers of human intervention. When you did the AI, and it's just like, stop everything. I'm going to explode if you don't give me a refund for this game, but let me keep it. Okay, sounds good.
Well, yeah, there's going to, probably within the next couple weeks, we'll probably have a story about that.
Well, what we won't have in the next couple of weeks is an AI from Apple. Because they don't have one. And it's killing them. But they keep making announcements.
Apple AI researchers boast a useful on-device model that substantially outperforms GPT-4. And you dig into this, and you find out what Apple has done is basically just used a very small model to teach it some things about making appointments and doing like Siri-type tasks. And that is actually orders of magnitude less complicated than doing it at a much higher level. And so, yeah, I would expect that to perform a lot better than GPT-4 stumbling around the Apple interface by like trying to look at it and click on stuff.
Now, one thing that's guaranteed, it seems, in our future is that we will at some point either have a completely non-functional search engine results or we'll pay for them.
Gen AI search engine Perplexity has a plan to sell ads. Great.
This is the dream of the internet, right?
Right.
Information that can be shared globally, but only if you pay for it.
Oh, I missorted this one. This should have gone in the OpenAI section. But yeah, this is another one that people are worried about, especially with the whole election thing coming up.
OpenAI reveals a tool to recreate human voices from approximately 4 seconds of voice. Fabulous.
Nothing's going to be real. But one thing that is real
I love
is
this.
danger. And it's the danger posed by kangaroos and their erratic, insane nature.
Carmakers give up on software that avoids kangaroos.
Which means they also gave up on deer, because deer behave exactly the same way.
Well, no, they say the kangaroos are harder because the way they're so good at jumping and like moving in midair that the cameras can't tell what they are anymore. You know, like they're doing somersaults and stuff, and the camera's like, I don't know what that is.
I guess they're not four-legged really either, so that probably
And-
makes them think it's like a human.
When they're in the road, they can be like a really low profile where they're all hunched down, and then they explode up with their legs, and then it's like the camera just like, I don't know.
No, I don't know what that is.
Apparently, these cameras are great at moose.
Huh.
Real bad at kangaroos.
I bet the cameras will be fine if they were to step it up to like 200 FPS.
There's a woman who is a kangaroo rescuer, and she describes like it's so common, like apparently way more common than deer here. So she keeps a can of spray paint, and when she sees one, she pulls over, and the first thing you have to do is search its pouch because there might be a baby in there.
Oh.
And if there is, you have to get it and put it in on your shirt. Then you spray paint the dead one to let people know they don't need to check it for a baby. And here is probably a glimpse in our future, right? We had the whole thing where like the do not pay AI, remember that? That was like really early pre-language model AI. And everybody was like, that's a good thing. But we should have known that the opposite would come eventually.
A law firm, quote unquote, of AI generated lawyers is sending fake threats as an SEO scam. Basically, it's just saying, hey, you've got this image on your website. Don't take it down. Just add a link to where it came from. And it's SEO scam.
These lawyers do not exist. Yeah, they're just looking for backlinks to increase their page rank.
I like that they cropped in on them so you can't tell what they're wearing. So, you know, if they're not wearing professional clothing, you wouldn't know.
And here is maybe our horror story of the week. This is everything that we were promised would not happen, and look how fast it happened.
The machine did it coldly. Israel used AI to identify 37,000 Hamas targets. That was the Lavender system, but it probably wasn't very good.
What a lovely name.
Yeah.
So they point out that the humans, a human has to confirm. But these humans admitted, they were like, yeah, I spent about 20 seconds looking at that. And then I'm on to the next one, and there's a never-ending supply. The AI never runs out of Hamas militants that it can trick. So they admitted two insane things in this article. It's not really related to the AI. Number one, they consider a 15-to-1 civilian to militant ratio acceptable. So if there's a building with 15 innocents and one Hamas militant, yes, we will blow that up. The second one they figured out is attacking the military structures of Hamas is actually quite difficult. Way better to get them after they've gone home for the night in their houses. There's a lot of multi-family housing in Gaza.
Yeah.
It's really dense.
It's a city.
So yeah, there's a robot that's just dropping bombs. It's out there. And Apple is looking to put a robot right in your house.
Apple reportedly exploring personal home robots.
Oh, Wendell, what if there's a cooking bot, but it's an Apple bot?
I'm not-
What if it's really good, though?
Uh,
What if it's like me with like the Apple Pencil, where it's like, I don't really like Apple, but the pencil's so good.
I mean, if it can clean my house, would I let Apple surveil me 24/7?
That is a good point. I don't know if I'd want the surveillance aspect, but that's probably true of any bot you invite into your home.
do we get into a construction thing where like you have the the cloud areas of your house and the private areas of your house, and it's like, oh, the apple wing is over here, and it's like, here's my sleeping pod, which is private.
Your sleeping pod's just disgusting because it's the one place it doesn't clean.
You could give the robot a rule. It's like, we're never in the same room, robot.
Do not look me in the eyes.
If you hear me coming, leave. You just get out of there. And the self-driving cars are out there. I'm not too interested in self-driving taxi, but I could be interested in this. I like taking the human out of this because they don't have to tip anybody.
Waymo self-driving cars are delivering Uber Eats orders for the first time.
No, they'll keep the tip because that's just the world we live in.
No, but then
now.
I won't feel bad about not giving it to them.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be these Jaguar I somethings, and they show the UI here. Head outside to get your order. Oh, Washington Post. You're so awful.
Ready or not?
Wait, I didn't click it. I had to refresh myself of what it was. Right, yeah, self-driving trucks.
Ready or not, self-driving trucks are coming for America. I thought they would be
America's
here already.
highest. Yeah, it's kind of been one of those things where like, oh, the trucks are coming, but it never quite happens when we expect it to.
I mean, interstate driving and then like hub to hub driving. You know, you got Walmart, places like that. I'm genuinely surprised that we don't have a convoy of like 5 or 6 trucks where the front truck is driven by a human that also will tend to the edge case scenarios of all of the other trucks behind him. But there's like, you know, just a half a mile long convoy that only has one driver.
Problem with that is, though, they're going to get separated with traffic lights and exits and stuff.
It wouldn't matter because, you know, they could pull over and wait or whatever.
Or you could pull over a half mile of truck somewhere. That could be difficult.
Or, well, I mean, if there's an exception, if there's no exception, there's no problem. But if there's an exception, that there's always a guy there within a mile or two to go deal with whatever the exception is.
Yeah, I mean, they want to do it. Now, right now, we don't really have any federal regulations on this. So in most states, unless that state explicitly bans it, which I think a couple have, it's legal to do that, which is kind of insane.
And interstate driving is so easy.
And I believe that, didn't we see at one point that some airport was using a spot to chase away bears?
Yeah.
So, well, they're not the first to do this. They're picking up on, again, USA number 1.
Korean Air Force mulling use of robot guard dogs to patrol bases. Yup.
I guess. Why not?
Can't wait till they add the drone dogs to PUBG.
Seems like you could jam them pretty easily. Or trick them. Just ask them a bunch of questions. And this one's a little bit more alarming, especially after we see what the Israeli thing is telling us.
Army mulls introducing a robot platoon into armored brigades. They would be able to use a variety of drones, swap out components, by land, by air. We've got some options here for autonomy.
One of those components that they talk about swapping out is an anti-tank missile mounted on a spot. Remember when they said that wouldn't happen?
That's not actually from Boston Dynamics. It's just a weird...
It's the off-brand. It's a
a
great value brand.
It's a weird licensed contraption from some Army contractor.
Now, I'm not going to pretend to understand any of this, but it's fun to read about it and sort of speculate our insignificance in the universe.
New 3D cosmic map raises questions over the future of the universe. There's more galaxies than we thought.
And things are accelerating.
In time for the eclipse.
I think with things accelerating, it might never be possible to travel across the universe.
You know what's happened is the rest of the universe is so tired of us. They're like, we have to do anything to get away from them. You know what? Let's expand infinitely outward, and they'll never be able to find us. We are going to the moon. Hype.
Woo!
What are we going to do while we're up there?
Hype train.
We're going to do some off-roading.
NASA picks 3 companies to help astronauts drive around the moon.
There's one of them. Looking good. That's an electric self-driver.
What do you think they're playing on the radio?
Well, the radio
Russian
is
hard bass.
probably not a mission control, maybe. And then we're going to have, look how New York Times has such an aggressive little thing.
Yeah, they really want you to pay.
And we got this one, which is, it looks like it has less room for people. And then you got the big boy here. That guy's cool.
Turn on the air conditioning.
So yeah, let's get excited for that.
That'll be neat.
Off-roading the moon. And we're going to get a lot better look at the moon, and in fact, the entire night sky, once we get this guy out there.
The world's biggest digital camera is finally completed. A 3.2 billion pixel LSST camera will collect 1.5 terabytes of data from the southern sky each night.
I think it's 15, isn't it?
Is it
Yeah, it's
15?
15.
Oh, it's 15.
All of us squint trying to see.
It's a
15
lot.
terabytes.
It's a lot. And because we are going back to the moon, it is important that we take our bureaucracy with us.
The White House directs NASA to create a time standard for the moon. The moon's getting its own time zone. There's a bunch of date and time programmers
Yeah.
that just cried out in horror.
I wouldn't want to be in that council meeting.
Well, you wouldn't want to be in this house in Florida either.
Trash from the International Space Station may have hit a house in Florida. They think it was a battery pack. We were supposed to bring the battery pack down, but then some schedules didn't align and something else. So this is just like, get out of here, battery
That's
pack.
the most like Florida thing I've ever heard.
But I love how their rationale was like, schedule this for the return trip. And they're like, oh, there's a problem with the return trip. Just flush it.
It'll be fine.
No one cares. This is not our problem. We live up here. And I guess, if you're a governor or whoever, and you're just, Governor Katie Hobbs, you're just trying anything you can to get people to notice you, right? So maybe this is a good thing. I don't know.
Pluto is now the state's official planet. Guess it's a planet again, at least if you're in Arizona.
That is an embarrassing one to pick, isn't it?
That is a little.
I would have gone with Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter's the cool one.
There's no question Jupiter is a planet. Like,
Saturn also cool. Great pick.
How could you even?
Venus.
Krista, as you're strolling through the woods, assuming that you're not serial killed, you can spend your nights thinking about this guy and exactly how all these twists and turns will just rip your body apart once he finds you.
Spaghettify me. Milky Way black hole has strong, twisted magnetic field and mesmerizing new image.
They thought it was an artifact of the imaging, maybe, so they actually looked at a bunch of other black holes, and it turns out that's a really common feature when imaged this way.
This is just a Dune promo.
I hope that black hole is not with the Eclipse Armada. It comes to destroy us. Remember the CRISPR babies? I want to know. I want to follow up. What are they up to now? How old would they be?
Probably like a year or two. They're probably still very young.
Not older than that, right?
They're older, yeah.
Or you think?
Yeah, they're old enough to be in school at this point, right?
I think so.
Anyway, this man went to jail because you're not allowed to CRISPR babies, but now he's out, and he's not at all regretful. He says he doesn't say he'll do it again, but I think he might.
Scientist who gene-edited babies is back in the lab and proud of past work despite the jailing.
It's amazing that a lab hired him.
Well, he's really good. Can't argue with his results.
Do you have any references? Prison Mike. Oh, I'm sorry, no.
The references are those kids are still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, the superpowered kids. Let's reference them. They're immune to disease. And here's a crazy new thing that I'm sure, considering that we're all getting turbo cancers at this point, we're all going to need at some point. We're all going to be pig people, hybrids.
Pig kidney transplant patient leaves the hospital. This is encouraging. And they're not going to hospice. They're actually expected to live, which has not been the outcome for other pig transplant patients that we've covered here in the past.
A pidney, if you will.
And the eclipse has become a huge cultural phenomenon, which is weird because in 2017 it wasn't quite that, right? It was
I
like
don't know.
the
I
hype
saw a lot of
machine.
people
You think
getting
so?
excited. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't have this problem back then, did we?
New York inmates are suing to watch the solar eclipse after the state orders prisons locked down. Tune in next week and we'll have the thing that happened, because at the time we're shooting this, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
So they're claiming that it's a religious thing. Like the eclipse has religious significance and they should be able to witness it.
I don't understand why you wouldn't. Like, do they think people will riot when they see it? Like, oh, it's dark during the day. Like, I don't understand why won't they let them out? I mean, not let them out, but like
how do you manage that?
good behavior. Whoever has the best behavior gets to go out.
Well, then that the religious thing doesn't,
Yeah.
because you could still be. And in Japan, they are having a demographic crisis, as we all are. And some people are noticing that as society moves forward with marriages, an interesting thing is happening.
Everyone in Japan will be called Sato by 2531 unless marriage law is changed, says a professor. And this is that you always take the husband's surname. I suppose this means that no one from other countries will immigrate to Japan.
But actually in Japan, you don't have to take the husband's surname. You can choose the wife's too, but I think like 90% take the husband.
It's a pain in the butt. Change your name.
Well, they're saying don't do it because not only that, but so he observed that during 2023, Sato's increased by 1% in Japan. So he's extrapolating.
Oh,
which
that it'll...
That's probably not going to happen.
No.
So that's interesting.
Is Sato like Smith, you think?
Probably something like that. Now, last week we heard from Bill Shatner. They're doing another movie about him, but that is not the only project he is working on at 92. It's the hardest working man, the hardest working 92-year-old in America.
An invitation from William Shatner. It's only going to cost you $30,000, and you can go with me to Antarctica.
What, so I can be the Thinged? No, thank you.
You got to give it up to Bill, man. He is out there mixing it up. I don't know why I would want to follow him to Antarctica.
If he needs medical care while you're out there, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, that's true. At that point, I mean, just throw me out on the ice pack, right?
Yeah.
And here's something that I guess we all kind of knew, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you then watch this program. The first 2 episodes are usually pretty bleak.
Yeah, it's
Fridays are more fun, but
and it's in my mind the things that you need to know weight more toward this.
Yeah.
Right, because you need to know them because you need to watch out for them.
Negativity drives online news consumption. Yeah, it's the algorithm.
have you ever noticed too, like even when you go to like places where it's like uplifting news and then it's all just, you know, the orphan crushing machine stops and it's like, why do we have an orphan crushing machine? Even good stories are kind of sad.
Well, let's follow that up with a sad reality, huh?
A quarter of school students are chronically absent. Yeah.
Do we not have the truancy laws anymore? Have we just given up on that?
We've just given up on that.
No, we still have them. I just think people don't care.
And a lot of these small towns, they can't help that they're in the path of the eclipse, right? And they're going to get inundated with people, and they want to stop it, but clearly some people don't quite grasp the eclipse.
Some residents of this Michigan town have begged the mayor to stop the solar eclipse so that the town isn't bothered with all of the randos not from town coming to town to look at the eclipse.
Can't you just shift the path of the eclipse a little bit? It's really unfortunate that this is happening.
I remember when we had the polar vortex, some people were like, can't we do something about this?
It's like,
Can we stop
just
it?
bundle up.
And if you are a homeschooler, if you don't want to mess with any of that nonsense education, you might want to go to your local library, get some resources, but Jesus Christ, take the books back.
Texas mom says she was issued an arrest warrant for her kids' overdue library books.
She went to get a new driver's license. Turned out there was a bench warrant because she didn't return some books. Actually, she did return the books, but she just didn't ever pay the fine,
Oh.
which is now up to $700.
How many books did they have?
4.
Wow.
And here's the thing. Do you have a boat and do you want some goats? Because they're the only 2 requirements here.
Italian island overrun by goats is offering them free to anybody who can catch them. Just come to the island, grab a goat, go home, you're good to go.
Don't grab one goat.
Take many.
Grab as many as you can get.
This is like me in cat season in the spring.
If we had an unlimited amount of money, that would make an amazing video. And it's like, I'm here at Italy's Goat Island. Get some goat.
What does this have to do with tech?
Don't
Don't
worry
worry
about
about that.
Well, then what do we do with them? Once we get them?
They're just in the background all the time when we're doing the news,
Just,
eating the green screen.
yeah.
Well, some fish got a new home, but it wasn't the new home that they were supposed to get.
Truck crash spills live salmon into the wrong Oregon River.
Oh, you know the bears are just like, woohoo!
Oops.
Well, these bears are, but what about the other bears?
Oh, screw them.
That was like their Uber Eats order.
Someone took my Uber Eats order.
And this, unfortunately, we see this headline constantly. They are clearly not vetting these jobs the way that they should.
The head of the UConn Police Sex Crimes Unit removed last year for allegedly kissing and touching staff inappropriately.
One of his excuses was, it's like, no, I just kiss girls on the top of their head because, like, it's a fatherly thing. And this is hilarious because This has happened to me before. Like you'll drive through, and the drive-through worker is actually pretty good, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? We can do this as a deal, and I can put your drink in this, and I can save you a couple bucks." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds good." This guy wasn't having it.
I'm trying to give you a better deal. The customer pulls a gun on a Burger King employee for giving him a discount because the guy in the drive-thru had decided that there's no way that total was right because he orders the same thing over and over again, and that was way less, and this guy had obviously screwed up.
It was like 2 croissants and a sausage biscuit or something, and he knew it was $11. But the hilarious thing is, like, they had their argument, and he clearly wasn't comprehending it, so he angrily sped off. But then he circled back around to get the gun out.
That's I used to have interactions like that when I was a cashier sometimes, where you'd be like, "Oh, if you give me this amount, I can give you exact change. Like you won't need any change; you'll just get like dollars back." And people did not understand that at all.
It's tough for some people.
There's little mini events like this that happen in Stellaris, like when you're trying to elevate a species and something goes wrong, and then they just get irrationally angry for no reason.
I bet nowhere else in media will you get a Stellaris comparison to that story.
Subscribe now.
And here's a man who cannot figure out why people are mad at him. Why are you mad at me, bro? It's not like I did anything wrong.
Ronald Reagan's shooter, John Hinckley Jr., claims to be victim of cancel culture after his concerts keep being canceled. So he served his time, he's out, and he's become a musician, and he wants people to come see him in concert. But it turns out he's a bit of a controversial figure because of his past.
You shoot one president, and that's all people say about you.
Who's buying these tickets? And this is, your warning that no matter who you are, you have to be careful about your online security. And some people, that's way more true than others.
Wanted narco boss exposes his whereabouts by posting Google reviews. So he was just doing restaurant reviews and hotel reviews, but he was posting pictures of himself too. So he would be in a hotel and be like, "This bathroom is amazing," and you could see him in the reflection.
So there's a $5 million reward, as you can see there, which means that the online sleuths are working overtime to catch him. And so every time that something like this comes out, they're doing some serious detective work, and they've tracked him down.
Wow.
Turns out he stays at a lot of really nice hotels. And the French, they love to strike. And France did a kind of stupid thing to tell them, no, you're not allowed to strike anymore, which is, those laws just baffle me.
Yeah.
And they baffle the French pilots.
Especially in France.
Yeah.
Air France pilots threatened to strike over a strike ban. So
let's remember who you're dealing with right now.
It's like, no, we will strike to let you know that we are allowed to strike. This is ridiculous.
We like to make fun of France, but this is a beautiful thing that they do.
So this is not an outright ban on strikes. It's actually like, hey, you're not allowed to strike during this 60-day window because this is the most busy flight time of the year. And it's like, well,
that's when I have the most bargaining power.
But it's exactly why we would choose that. Come on. We're being ridiculous here. And Israel is being ridiculous by making this claim. And I love that they use the word blasts in the title here.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, the headline is unfortunate. Israel blasts the UN for not distributing humanitarian aid to Gaza amid claims of famine. I think there might be a reason for that.
So people are like, hey, Israel, there's famine in Gaza. And they're like, well, it's not our fault. We're just dropping bombs and locking them down.
And people can't get in or out. I don't know.
Pointing guns at them.
Also, those people that we sent in for aid didn't make it.
Yeah. They blamed the aid workers. They say that UNRWA is full of Hamas. It can't be trusted. And so that's the reason that the people of Gaza are starving.
I don't know. No matter what side of the technology agenda you're on, the events there are being used to try to manipulate the state of technology one direction or the other, which is unfortunate.
What are the two sides of the technology agenda? The Luddites and the...
Well, no, it's like we need to use powerful AI to, sort the bad apples from the good apples. And the other side is we need to use insanely powerful AI to fight back against authoritarian control. And it's like, how about we just, reestablish the human connection? Is that an option? No one's advocating for that.
Well, plenty of people are advocating for that. No one with billions of dollars is advocating for that. That's the problem. And you might not have billions of dollars, but your life could still be rich with love from your pets. But there is a limit.
French couple who kept 159 cats have been banned from keeping pets because...
That seems fair, because I don't think you can give that many cats a good home.
Now, remember last week we talked about the crazy cat story where they were all well-fed and socialized.
Yeah.
Not the case here.
Yeah.
Lots of dehydration and infections and bad things. They were trying.
I don't know how you could possibly keep all of those litter boxes clean.
Well, that turns out they weren't.
Yeah.
That would be a...
Although the other guy was, and he was just by himself, which is amazing.
If you were working around the clock, I don't think you could get them all.
Not for 150 some odd cats.
And you know, as soon as you clean one, they love a fresh.
Yeah, Cricket is immediately like, "Oh, hi. I see you're looking at my litter box. Let me come in here and use it."
Oh, you want more of that? All right, look, I've got another delivery for you. And we've talked about this town before. They have a bit of a monkey problem. They say they're going to solve it.
As you do.
But they're solving it just kind of sounds like a concentration camp for monkeys.
Thailand plans to contain the monkey mayhem in the popular tourist town of Lopburi. They're going to round them up and stick them in a quote-unquote giant enclosure. But that doesn't sound amazing.
I assume, I don't know, I know like problem bears, sometimes they'll transport them away. But they usually like, you don't have that many problem bears and like, they don't usually come back right away.
So what they've done already, they haven't built the enclosure yet. They haven't finished it. But they've already done one sweep of the more aggressive breeding age males. Those have all gone into zoos.
Okay.
So now we just have the complacent population left to be put into the camps.
Oh.
Again, another weird analog. And elephants. I've always thought that elephants were like not that common, like they were dying out and stuff, but apparently not. Too many elephants, it seems.
Botswana threatens to send 20,000 elephants to Germany in a trophy hunting row. So apparently Germany is saying, hey, we don't, like there are people that are going to Botswana to do like trophy elephant hunting.
And bring the ivory back.
Yeah, and that has fallen out of favor. But now there's elephant overpopulation in Botswana.
So Botswana's like, either let your rich people come here and kill our elephants and give us money, or we're going to flood you with elephants.
That's so sad.
But I don't know how exactly they're thinking of getting them there.
It would be an expensive flight for even like two.
Maybe whoever solves the goat problem can swing down, grab some elephants.
Elephants take them back too.
Drop them off at Germany. And finally, another story that we keep seeing over and over. Do you think this is just the pearl-clutching youth who like can't handle any kind of crisis and they immediately just call the cops?
Mountain lion that made school go into lockdown mode turned out to be a fat cat eating a rat.
What a good boy.
He does not look like a lion.
No.
He's big.
He is big.
But
lions are usually not fat. He's adorable.
he is cute.
It's
I
a
want to
giant
touch his
cat.
belly, but I know that's a
trap.
bad idea. Yeah. Cricket will let me touch his belly a little bit.
My cats they're full belly rubs now.
Yeah.
I've conditioned them to where they're fine with it.
Cricket doesn't bother him too much, but
What you do is you start up with like the chest area where they're okay
Yeah.
with it because it doesn't violate their trust, and then you just slowly move down. And
Yeah.
oh, this is pretty good.
Silly kitty.
all right. Well, that's it, chat. Go give your cats a hug from me. Bye.